Overlooking Jerusalem for Info Live TV, and we're into a fourth week of fighting in the northern border with Hezbollah. Skirmishes, rocket attacks, but it's not just a small situation. Our regular guest on Info Live TV, Jerrold Kessel, says we're talking about something a lot bigger. Jerrold, joining us now, tell us more about the shape and size of this war with Hezbollah and what it really means.
Let me put it this way, Adam. At the start of the campaign, on the day that Hezbollah launched that unprovoked attack on July 12th across the northern border, and Israel engaged in its robust response, a question was put to me by a young Turkish journalist with an extraordinary sense of vision into the future. She asked me, are we seeing the beginning of another six-day war here? The idea in her mind was this war going to be about something that would entirely transform the shape of the Middle East? And I think now, looking back in hindsight, I wasn't quite sure at the time, but in hindsight I think we can say 3 weeks into the fighting, 3 full weeks into this war, that yes, this is, even though the fighting is only in South Lebanon and across the border into Israel, that this is a war which goes far beyond that, and it could transform the Middle East on 2 counts.
Jerrold, you've spoken to us before about the concept of a proxy war in the Middle East. Tell us more about that.
The idea of a proxy war is a very interesting one. I think Joschka Fischer, the former German foreign minister, put it very, very well in an article this week, indicating of just how elemental a war it is. And I'll quote you from what he said, Fischer. He said, "It's a war orchestrated by radical forces, Hamas and Islamic Jihad on the Palestinian side, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Syria and Iran, all of which fundamentally refuse to make any settlement with Israel." Now, some would even go further than that and suggest that the proxy war being fought by Hezbollah is, in a sense, an Iranian attempt to double trump the United States' vision of a new Middle East and an assertion of American hegemony in the Middle East by saying, yes, there could be a new Middle East, but a new Middle East which will have no Israel. On the other side of the equation, this does seem to be, although Israel very much has, of course, its own dealings with Hezbollah, its own agenda to bring Hezbollah completely asunder, to make sure that it will not be a threat in the future, it does fit into this overall conception in the United States that this is about something more. It is possibly about the reshaping of a new Middle East.
If we're speaking of very broad-ranging consequences for what's happening in the north, Jerrold, how far can we see this war going now?
Yes, there is a fear, we talked about proxy wars, that there's a fear in many circles that the resumption of Israel's ground operation in expanded form over the last 36 hours could threaten that this will get out of control and make it a broader concept. But I think you have to take the words of Ehud's government at face value. When they say, we do not want this war to expand, take it at face value. We do not want to occupy even a centimetre of Lebanese territory once the immediate goal of making sure that Hezbollah can't re-entrench right in that border area adjacent to Israel has been secured. Take it at face value. So that means that when you look at this border action, you look also at the tactics. It looks an awful lot like the 1978 invasion of South Lebanon, the Litani operation. It looks an awful lot like the start of the 1982 war which Ariel Sharon launched to rid Lebanon of the PLO. But it isn't that at all. It's not about any semblance of occupation in the future. Israel has not got that in mind at all. Israel's objective is limited, and that opens the way possibly for the institution of this broader plan or broader objective of the Bush-Blair vision.
Jerrold Kessel, thank you for speaking to us on Info Live TV.
Thank you.